Welcome to Chasing K-Dramas, the podcast that dissects popular Korean dramas episode by episode. We dive into characters, themes, and everything in between. I am Dulcé Sloan, and here's my co-host,
Chrissy, Choi.
So, in today's Chapes, we'll be recapping episode 13.
A lot of things happen in 13.
In Queen of Tears.
13's really good because it's
action-packed. We got key moments, including the chairman's funeral, his farewell message to the family that was recorded in a pen. Also, he finding the slush fund. Mm-hmm. Finally, somebody got their hands on these ducats. Somebody's holding on to this wand, right? And Eunsung's plan to use it to fully take over Queens. And there's some light at the end of this foggy tunnel.
Yes.
Because there's now a treatment for Haein, but she may lose her memory, and some of the Hong family departs for Seoul.
They finally leave Yongduri.
They're finally leaving,
some of them do.
which is, I know, makes you very sad because you love.
I know.
You
I
love
Yongduri,
and I hate that most of their house is underground. Like, if I had...
Yes, Queenstown is underground.
Yes.
It's weird. They just meet in basements, darkly lit. It's not darkly lit, but it's
very well
lit, but it's clearly...
It looks cold, though.
Yeah.
They're all it's all basementy. It's all cold.
Yeah.
And so we have a flashback of when the chairman first brought his family to the new house. He's on a very modern camcorder.
In the 1980s.
Which is confusing because it should have been big as shit. It should have been on his shoulder.
I think in the last episode I mentioned this, but I just feel like it wasn't very realistic. I think they could have done a little bit better job of there was a drama called Reborn Rich, which was another Chaebol revenge story. And I thought from what I remember, I thought they did a very good job of realistically portraying what a Chaebol family, a house would look like.
Yeah.
Earlier in the day, but this I just felt like maybe they ran out of budget. I don't know.
Or the Parasite house was
just available.
Was hey,
because it was modern.
Well, also this modern boxy house style wouldn't have been even in America.
No,
in the 80s. Did you see how so much furniture was so?
I know
everything was huge. All your whole bedroom set matched.
Yeah, everything matched.
Gallery furniture. Ask the Wolfman. Ask for Donna.
Well, there was actual wood,
yes.
wood,
pieces.
Wood pieces.
So it wasn't this stick furniture now, but
yeah.
The flashback of when the children brings the family to the home, and then he also records.
He records the biggest secret of all.
He records where the panic room is. He's like, this is my space. What, dum-dum? He records how to get into it, where it is.
Literally, he's giving a tutorial. He's what you do is you unscrew this the
thing on the back of the elevator, which that could still, that's not too modern for me. That makes sense. No, because it's just a button to an elevator that they hid. Because it's just the door opening.
Okay, you're right. Maybe I was I don't know why, but I was just maybe it was because of the set itself where I was just this is not believable.
All too modern.
I was I am not believing this.
I think if it would have been everybody moving in as adults, it would have made sense.
Yeah, but they were kids.
But they were kids. They were kids. Middle school, not even maybe middle school kids.
Yeah.
And so it was just for the time period, because for Haein to be in her 30s, that means she was born, in the 90s?
Probably 1990.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which meant that her dad wasn't old enough.
It wasn't even in the 1980s. This was 1970s.
So the house definitely makes no sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because when did they start making these really blocky, modern-y ass houses?
And I'm saying 1980s. I'm pretty sure in that video they show the date, and I jotted it down.
So yeah, this house is way
the
wrong.
math is not mathin'.
The math ain't mathin'. Because the parents aren't, and nobody's old enough for this thing to be happening. So the house is too modern from the time period. Yeah. So back in the present, the Hong family tour the house with a picture of the chairman, and again the white gloves, the military kind of looking jackets for the men, and then the women in the traditional hanbok.
Yeah.
But like I said, I honestly, instead of seeing the men in military, I would have loved for the men to be in hanbok too.
Yeah, isn't it interesting how usually nowadays, modern days, it's always the women, but men always, well, we talked about this too, like the cut suits back in the day. It's always the women wearing the hanbok, because you didn't see many women in like pre-Korean War times wearing like modern day. Not modern day, excuse me, Western clothing, I would say. Western clothing,
yes. But I think this is a lot of other cultures where it's
do
like,
that.
But I think that it's women keep culture. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I did see a very TikTok where some guy was like, show me something that a woman's made. And he said 8 billion people.
Also, that person. Anyways.
Love that black man. What's something a woman's made? 8 billion people. Women have made 8 billion people. I need you to chill. But I think it's because women are keepers of culture. So like the traditions that you have, they're usually passed down. It's the remembering of like recipes and the remembering of this is how we do this. I think a lot of times culture just expect women to keep those things going. So the house is too modern. They're back in the present. The Hong family tore the house with the chairman in the picture. I love that picture. I love the picture. I love the banners. I love the whole thing. Food very much giving for me. It's giving Black Funeral, the repast.
Yeah.
All
they
of
had
that
nice tent. But
and they enter
they
enter the panic room,
huge, yes.
and it's empty.
It's
empty and like Suchol's like, but I can see there used to be boxes in here. Also, there's light shining. There's sunlight
streaming into the
panic room. And I'm like, we can just watch the bomb drop above you? How is this secure?
I didn't even notice that.
Because was that an overhead light?
Maybe a very strong overhead light.
It was hitting me.
Or maybe it's like a production light. They're like, it's too dark in here. We got to ramp it up.
I feel like it was hitting like sunlight. And it was just like, look, there's nothing there. And I'm just like, this can't be secure. No piece of glass is securer than the ground if there's a panic room. Also, that means they could have just looked down and seen the money. Like,
yes. They would have found it. They wouldn't have gone through all that trouble.
Right, unless this is just like a fucking tube that goes all the way through the house up to the roof so they can look up and see the sky. But, so the siblings are upset about the chairman didn't tell any of the kids. Nothing. And from the central dust marks on the ground, they could see that it was in there, and mostly he got all the money and relocated it. So they meet her in the living room. The Pumja confronts Mosuhi, accuses her of murdering her dad, and asks her if she put the money. And then Mosuhi, listen, because they're like, you've lost the power of attorney, and everyone keeps going, get out, 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 get out. And she's like, we could just live together like a family like we did for the past 20 years. And it's like, ma'am.
This part.
What?
She's lost her life. She's like, basically, I'm a legal resident. I mean, you can't kick me out.
Squatting rights are squatting rights.
Right. So she's like, well, you can kick me out, but you got to take me to court. But I'm a legal resident here.
And she's like, isn't that right, Keanu? And he's like, oh, yes. But then the dad goes, she can stay.
Just stay. He's like, you know what? Just let it be.
As he's holding the picture of the dad.
He's like, you know what? Just let's see how this plays out. Sure, you can stay, We
follow Haein, who gets the secret pin that she gave to the chairman and listens to the recording, right?
This part is so sad. And you see the downfall of I guess, I don't even know if this man was great. I think he was a powerful man. Exactly. A powerful man and his downfall. But he basically is like, in the recording, he says, I'm going in and out. I'm going in and out. And I don't have much time. I'm not really remembering things. But he's like, all I know is that I'm living in regret. I'm regretful for everything that I've done in my life, And he's like, and I don't want you guys to live like this. All my life, I scrimped, I saved. I was so terrified of losing what I had created that all I did was try to protect what I had,
Nobody works harder than somebody who grew up with nothing.
Right. And he's like, and again, it's just so wild that a person like this, right, would give it all up for one woman who was just absolutely insane. But
honestly, you would love to be.
I mean, men in general,
right?
right?
The question is like, do you want to be the kind of woman that could take a whole thing down like this?
I'm good.
Do you want to have the face that launched 1,000 ships?
Oh, yes. I think I'm good. I'd rather just be a normie in the corner. I'm good. I'm good. It's too much. It's just too.
I want to know somebody.
It is too freaking dramatic.
Nope.
Like,
I want to know somebody. Listen, you know how I feel? Go to war for me. Go to war for me. That no. Go to war for me.
And then
he worked hard. He saved, and it's like you're seeing her like riding in the car because they're leaving the house because they still can't technically live there because he just passed.
Yeah,
and so it's like, what is he left with? Because he lived his life with regrets, and he tells everyone that he loves them, and he's sorry. And I feel like these next 2 episodes are when you see Haein cry the most.
Yes, because again, I think in the previous, there was a couple episodes a while back where we realize, or she starts realizing that she is facing death. Like, it's a real thing. Because, in the beginning episodes, she's like, kind of like in denial about it. She's like, no, I'm going to live. I'm going to live.
I've never had a soda. How am I going to die?
Never failed in my life. I'm going to win, know? And then there was the episodes where she kind of has like accepted it fully. And I think these are the episodes now where she's just like, she's losing her memory. Her cloud movements are happening, and she's like, this is the reality. This is the reality. Like, I'm really sick, and I'm reaching towards the end. And then I think watching her grandfather, the funeral, she says, I think, that it feels like it was her death rehearsal, which I was like, good God.
And she's getting ready for her own funeral, and I wanted to go, sweetheart, when you in the casket, you ain't got to plan nothing.
Yeah, she was, someone else. You
Listen,
have a funeral plan.
You die with dirty drawers on, that's somebody else's problem. Yes, you know what I mean?
Dirty drawers.
But she thinks that because it's like, and the other thing because it's so interesting, because she didn't want her family to know about this because she thought they would take advantage of her, not because they would like feel bad for her. And now she's saying that.
No, so we thought that in the beginning, right? But I think in the middle, remember that point where she tells Hyunwoo, she's like, I don't want to tell my parents because they've already lost a child.
Right.
Right. So I think.
She's got the 2 reasons, though.
Yeah.
And so I think it's interesting now where she's just like, everyone has softened. The mom is being nicer. And she's like, if I die now, my family's going to have to mourn 2 people at the same time.
It's rough.
So she's crying, they're holding hands, and she's like, everything in the world is pretty and she wants to live. But meanwhile, we got Psycho Ajushi, Evil Ajuma. We find out that mostly he figured out the passage to the panic room by watching the old videos recorded by the chairman. Because if you remember, when Eunsung was watching the chairman through the Napoleon portrait,
yes,
what was the chairman doing? He was watching old videos. Yeah,
and that is, I think, one of the catalysts, right, for Mosuri to go and say, I will go to prison for you. Because, in that moment, do you remember that? So Eunsung saw him watching the home videos, right? And then Mosuri watches the clip too, and then she realizes, oh, I don't have that much power over this person because this person is still remembering his past life.
The past.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a fun fact. I really do think like that was the moment where she connected. Yeah. Because right after that scene, she goes straight to him and says, I will go to prison for you.
So you think she decides to go to prison for him because just like, oh, I've spent all this time with this man and I really haven't had the impact that I wanted. If he's sitting up as a lucid person whose children live with him, still we're looking at those old movies. Okay. Oh, that makes sense.
But isn't it also crazy? I mean, they really want to find the slush fund, but for her to go through, she's like drinking whiskey, she's drinking like a cognac, and she's like watching these videos, and then she finds it.
It must also be hard for her to watch because she did spend 20 years with this man.
Yeah, but I don't think she liked him at all because in the last episode, I don't know if it was tough for her.
I say tough for her as in...
Like she kind of failed in her plan.
Kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not completely heartless because she did all these things for her son.
Yeah.
But I know what she said to the chairman. I don't think she's as complicated. She's not as calculated as... I feel like if she had no feelings for the chairman, she wouldn't be treating him like, yes, she squeezed the man's face, but I feel like she would have been a lot harsher.
Yeah.
I feel like she had some feelings for him.
I don't, because I think in the last episode where she says, I never loved you, he was like, was this your plan from the beginning? And she's just like, you think I actually loved you? Like the way she said it was so nasty. Like I think this individual is an incredibly selfish person. I don't think that she has the ability to love people beyond, because even for her own child, she didn't really know. Yes, she loved him.
Okay.
But do you know what I mean? So I don't think she has it in her to give that kind of care to another person.
Oh, because she wasn't taught how to love.
She wasn't taught how to love. And I think she's just, listen, she clearly had a hard life too. I mean, the woman went to prison pregnant.
And that's why, for adultery.
Again, for adultery. I know. Yes, we wish Park Ji-eun gave us a little hint.
Give me the aunt of tears.
Like, give us like the aunt of tears. Give us like a 2-minute like flashback.
Give me an epilogue. You're wasting these epilogues on other goofy shit. Show me an epilogue. Mostly he meeting the chairman.
Yeah.
Because what would be even crazier is mostly went to prison for adultery because she got pregnant from the chairman.
Then that's like straight bakjang, yes. And then Eunsung is actually
the
forgotten son.
Yes, he was born on the wrong side of the blanket, as they used to say.
Yes, wrong side of the blanket.
He's the heir they can't claim. So she moved the money into a vault, which, here's the thing. It is illegal everywhere
to have money like that?
To have this much money. Do you know in America it's illegal to have more than $30,000 on your person?
Yeah. So this is why you have, what is it?
Oh, this is why it's a slush fund. This is why it's illegal.
Yeah. Eunsung decides to start slowly, right? Because they're not crazy. He's going to slowly start moving the money over.
And like a Shawshank Redemption.
He's going to just one by one just buy these little shares. Because right now what needs to happen, right? Because the POA, because of the chairman's death and the power of attorney, now there are Eunsung's family, Eunsung and Mosody still doesn't have full ownership yet because the Hong family still is retaining some shares. So right now, in order for them to fully become the owners of Queens, they have to start buying these shares. So one by one, he starts doing this, right? And Hyuntae and Hyunwoo's dad, like Hyuntae explains all of this to Hyunwoo's dad. But that's like the new plan. It's like they have the money now, so they need to slowly start purchasing shares so they can fully take over without getting caught.
I do think it's interesting that Hyuntae is the person that the writer used to explain this.
Yeah, because he's part of the minority shareholder group, which I thought was really, it cracked me up.
Which I thought was interesting because you would think as a family member, well, I guess the family members can own shares. It doesn't matter. But I didn't think, because remember like before it was like, oh, you can't tell anybody that you have these shares? Because remember when he sold the shares before when they got divorced?
Yes, because Mi-sun was really upset with him.
Right, because it could be considered insider trading.
Insider trading, which 100% it is, but not that they were speaking actually, because at one point they weren't even going, like, they had seen each other once, right? Mi-sun and Hyuntae saw Haein once at her wedding and that was it.
She said, who is this? She texted her. Also, did you see this documentary on Netflix about Martha Stewart?
Yeah. Oh my God, that came out like
last year.
Yeah.
They did her dirty.
I know.
Because I was like, that insider trading thing might not have been as insider.
No, it wasn't insider. She was literally just trying. She was at the peak of her game. She's out there hustling.
They destroyed her.
They did not like it because they were jealous of her. And because she was a woman, they decided to take her down. And this woman at the peak lost like
everything.
It's what she is so fucking badass. Martha Stewart.
Listen, I watched her I read her magazine. I was like,
we all loved Martha Stewart.
I was like, maybe her TV show came out. I would think I was like, maybe what,
Martha
17?
Stewart Living?
Martha Stewart Living. I was like, am I ever gonna? No, I'm never gonna live in New England. I don't know how to plant. I don't know how to fucking cultivate these plants. That's not the point. See, if Moon Soo-hee would have applied her powers for good,
she would have been Martha Stewart.
She could have been anybody, or she could have been a crime lord. Who gives a shit? She could have, instead of doing this, she could have had her own criminal empire. She could have been stealing from hundreds of rich people as opposed to this one man. The way that her and Grace infiltrated this family.
Grace could have done a lot.
Grace could have done so much better than be a fucking goon. Grace and Moon Soo-hee could have infiltrated so many families.
Yeah. And they knew all the wealthy families.
All the wealthy family. Grace was doing her stuff for everybody. Mm-hmm. They weren't thinking big enough.
Nope.
Wow. So they moved the money into a vault, which is so much money to be moving, first of all. And because I don't think any country you're allowed to have this much money in a room.
Yeah. So
and she promises Eunsung to protect them, and with this money, she's going to be able to protect him. And we do notice that Moon Soo-hee is now dressing a little younger.
She's dressing like Haein. I think she looks like Haein.
Suits on suits on suits. And so you said the video is from 1982.
1982.
So yeah, that house makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Because when did they start building those super modern blocky ass?
Not in 1982.
They absolutely weren't. They were probably still doing the same like.
1982 was a very different vibe.
Truly, they're probably still doing the more traditional floor
Everything
plan.
was traditional, yeah.
82 in Korea? South Korea?
In South Korea, everything was wood. That's why I keep on saying wood. If you watch the Reply All dramas, like Reply 97, Reply, all of that, those years, they go by like decades.
I was wondering about those shows, and I was like, is this a different year?
You would love those shows, yes.
Okay, because I got confused one day.
The Reply series is so good.
Okay.
So then
we're back in Yongduri.
Haein's parents are getting ready to depart, right? Because they need to go back to Queenstown. So the dads are having their last hurrah. They're drinking makgeolli. And I think Haein's dad is a little hesitant to go back because there's a lot of unknown right now.
And I think Hyunwoo's dad is also a little hesitant for them to go back.
I don't think anyone wants them to leave.
I don't think
they don't want to
leave.
They want to stay. Hyunwoo gets a call from the German hospital. Also, this voice. It's not even the original doctor. It's like they had to find an AI. I don't even know. But it's a weird AI robotic voice telling
That's
Hyunwoo.
just a German's voice?
It just sounded really weird. The accent
You think
was off.
somebody got like translated or was trying to, or they got an actor who was like, I can do a German accent.
I thought this was the weirdest thing. So that voice was so weird.
Because I thought it was the dubbing, but then I was like, oh, he's speaking English.
Oh, yeah, it was not the dubbing. I was just like, I don't know what is happening, but he tells Hyunwoo that there is a miraculous treatment that they discovered that has to do with very strong ultrasounds. Very strong ultrasounds. And instead of going through surgery, opening up her brain, they're going to use the ultrasound to like zap it out of her. Sure.
They do that with kidney stones too.
Yeah. So then because of this, she can live, right? There's a chance that she's going to live, but there's a strong likelihood that she will lose her memory, which makes sense to me. If you're fucking zapping brain cells or whatever.
Hippocampus and all of that.
Exactly. So now Hyunwoo has to tell the dads this, right? Because they're right there. And everyone's happy, but it's like, but then she may lose her memory. And then the dad's like, you can't tell her this because she's not going to want to do the surgery.
The dads decide
that
they shouldn't tell her.
Yeah.
That she needs to go ahead and get the surgery. They're like, well, if she knows that she's going to lose all her memories, she won't get the surgery, so don't tell her.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, a bunch of men are just making a decision.
So This is where I was kind of like, I understand why Hyunwoo didn't tell her.
I get it.
But it must have been, I mean, it must have been super hard for him. Well, this episode, he kind of goes in and out of feeling bad, but like, I don't know. I just feel like after going through all that they went through after him lying about the divorce, I wonder if like he felt super guilty lying. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just so much like, it's such a big thing to lie about. You know? So I kind of thought about that. I mean, but again, it's because it's for the greater good, right? They want her to live. They really need her to live. So
it's like when you're lying for someone's benefit, right? There's lying for someone's benefit where it's like, this could hurt your feelings. But lying for my benefit where it could affect me in a medical way. I don't think that that's a justifiable lie. Like, I get it, but it's also just like, he's lied to her so much. If I was her, I'd be like, I don't even know if I can trust him anymore.
Yeah.
But I get you're lying for my benefit because it's like, you made me mad at you, so I would have the will to live. You didn't tell me that you wanted to divorce me after I said I was dying because it was just easier that way. So it was lying by omission. And he knows all of these terms. But it's like, him as a trained lawyer should know that, like, the doctor's also going to tell her when they get to Germany.
Well, so the whole point of it was, right, the dads were like, you have to tell her in Germany.
Yeah, tell her in Germany. Don't tell her now.
Yeah.
Get her to Germany.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, we're already here. We got these first class seats. We might as well just get this procedure done.
Yeah. So
but the family is so happy, and you don't want it to be like, well, we've gotten good news. But it's like, it's kind of like this. My manager called me last week. He said, hey, I got bad news and I got good news. And he's been my manager for 10 years. So he knows y'all want bad news first. So he's like, I got bad news for you. He's like, remember that Netflix thing you auditioned for? I said, what Netflix thing did I audition for? Because I do an audition, I just forget. So I don't get hung up on it. He's like, the thing you auditioned for last week. I said, oh, yeah, what happened? He said, well, the part you auditioned for got cut from the movie for time. Okay. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, then well, what's the good news? He said, you booked it.
I'm like, 알았어, Reg. I was like, 알았어.
And I was like, you know what? A win is a win.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. They might end up putting it back in the movie, and now I'm in the movie.
That's good.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I did book something.
Yes.
It's just next time it has to stay in the movie.
Yes.
So that's how I see it. Okay. It's good, but it's not the best outcome.
Right.
Like, I booked it, but it's not in the movie. She has a treatment to live, but she won't have any long-term memories. So now she's a goldfish, which they actually figured out the goldfish have longer memories than they thought. So the family's happy, right? And then Haein is like, she's scared and she's surprised, and she goes to her room and she opens the window, and like, she can't like sit still, right?
I mean, could you just imagine?
You thought you were gonna die for 3 months.
You thought you were gonna die, and then there's finally,
because that treatment didn't work. You were getting spinal taps done. That didn't work.
She got divorced. Like,
got divorced. You get your red blood count up.
She lost her entire empire.
Lost her whole empire. Her evil step grandma stole her family's whole business. Like, it's like, there's so much happening.
Her grandpa died.
Oh my God.
And
then he feels bad because he talked to her pen. So like, it's
like, no wonder. So she's just running around stressed, and then she keeps on asking Hyunwoo. She's like, hey, and she's asking for confirmation. She's like, when did you tell them? When did they call you? Did you tell them I'm available? Like, she's just like peppering with
Did you give them my avails?
Yeah, did you give them my avails? He's like, yes, we're going right away.
Yes, we're leaving.
Yeah.
And then they fall asleep in the same bed.
They do. They start really like acting like a couple. And I think this is when the episode starts like,
it's that lovey-dovey land.
I know, and they gotta like do this because, you know, more drama's supposed to, or just more dramas around the corner, right? for the next couple episodes.
So they have to have a good day. And so they go on like she's like, this is our first trip we ever went on since our honeymoon. He takes the biggest camera anybody's ever seen. I was like, doesn't he have a phone?
And he's like taking pictures.
Why is he out here with this Canon fucking camera?
Yeah.
With Kodak film in it. Like he has a...
Yeah. So
it needs a tripod. This camera is so big.
I do have to say, this episode was the one where, because we're watching, it's April 5th when we're recording.
Yes.
And all the Kim Soo Hyun stuff has been happening for the past month. So I do have to say, for me,
yes,
watching this episode, I was very much like, because, I think in our life, I was like, we need to separate, like, not we need to, but
now we're in this place where like we're finding out awful things about people, and it's like, how do you separate the artist from the art? Yes. Or how do you separate the person from their work?
And I have to say though, watching this, like, it was a bit annoying. I was like, oh, because he's playing this character who's like such a kind, now he's acting like such a kind, or he's not acting, his character is a super kind, loving individual who loves his wife, and he's going around taking photos, or like,
and he was so ugly to that. It's allegedly was so ugly to that girl.
Yes. And for me, it was a very like, it was, I couldn't help but feel moment. I could not help feel annoyed. I was watching and I was just like, because I kept on seeing Kim Soo Hyun. But I'm not gonna lie, I kept on seeing Kim Soo Hyun, not Baek Hyun-woo, but I kept on seeing Kim Soo Hyun, and I was like, Because like in between takes, he could have been texting that girl. Damn, I feel like that about like certain. There are certain people who have done awful things, and it's known in certain industries. And so if that person name comes up, I just openly would go, oh, remember when this awful thing happened? And people go, damn. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not letting us forget. Yeah. I'm not letting us forget. I'm not letting us forget that this person did this thing, right? Yeah. And so I think because we're now in this part where it's just like, oh, we have to think about everything, and people can't get away with being abusive like they used to. Like you said, that one girl who was in Marry My Husband, who actually ended up being a real life bully, lost her whole career. But then my other thing is just like, that girl was a bully in high school. Yeah. We're in our 30s now. Yeah. So she's in her 30s now. So it's just like, what had to happen? What did she do to that person for somebody to, because like people can say they were being bullied, like this person was mean to me, and it's just like, they just said they didn't like your shoes. You weren't being bullied. You had ugly shoes on. What are you talking about? Or some people, or there's legitimate bullying. You're terrorizing someone. You are mistreat. It's pure malice. Yeah, pure malice.
So it's also like, we were talking about the standards that like Korean stars are held to by the general public.
It's just genuinely unrealistic.
It's unrealistic because when you look at like, if Robert Downey Jr. and Charlie Sheen,
Hugh Grant,
Woody Allen, like if all of these, you see what I'm saying? If those guys were held up to the standards of now, it'd be donezo. Yeah. So it is this thing, because it's like what's awful is just like, some people are like, I'm not subtracting these two people from me. This is not. Yeah. Kim Soo Hyun and Haein. I was like, I can't finish watching this because this is how I feel about this person, or I can't support this because this is what this person did. Yeah. And then there's other people that go, no, I can still listen to this person's music and still know what they did as a person. Yeah. But I think that it's a personal choice that everybody has to make.
Right, right.
There's a standard you set as a society, and there's a standard you set for yourself. And I think right now what we're doing is it's like, there's so many people on the internet expecting everyone else to have their standard. Yeah. And so if I'm offended, we're all offended. Yeah. And it's like, but I wasn't offended. Yeah. Or now that we're not teaching critical thinking in schools the way that we used to, because they had to take analogies off the SATs 25 years ago, because they weren't teaching children the critical thought to get from A to C. If you're not absorbing information the way that someone in an older generation was.
Yeah.
Remember they keep changing the math? So to piss off parents every 20 years, so you're arguing with your kid at a dinner table. So it's just like, it's because we can't divorce ourselves from what happened to this man, what this man is involved in, and then this show. So it makes sense that you're watching this being like, this motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and especially because this character right now, the scenes we're watching, he is just like the epitome of perfection.
Yep, great boyfriend, great husband.
This is what the Korean drama male lead.
Yep.
Like, this is the trope. The trope that we have, you know? Korean drama leading men are a certain way, and he's checking all the boxes. So he's going around with the big ass camera taking photos. He's pulling her hand, putting her out of harm's way when the bike almost hits her. You know, and he's just like, I love you.
On the
and
pedaling thing.
Oh yes, they're doing all that, and I was just like, you know what?
If we go to Korea, we gotta go to that park. You know where it's at?
With the thing, I think they're out in the countryside because they're in Yongduri. They took the train from Yongduri.
Oh, they got more out.
They got more hours.
Girl.
But just back to this, So Haein goes, I'm going to tell you 3 secrets that I'm not tell you. I've told you.
Honestly, I thought that was so cute.
It was very cute. That part I really like. So her first secret is
that the MP3 player is hers.
Because
the H written on it, actually, it means it's for Haein. And she was the girl that he met on the first day of high school.
Yeah.
But it was his first day and her last day.
Yes, because she was studying abroad and he was coming from the countryside. And yes, and then he's so excited because he's like,
I looked for you up forever.
He's like, you're my crush. And she was like, oh, I was sad to leave because I didn't realize such a cute guy was at my school and I have to leave now. So very, very cute.
But in the way that a Korean drama is always, nobody can be in love and not have met at an earlier part.
Yeah, like you said, the meet cutes.
It's always little, and that's a new term that Auntie learned.
Yeah.
But you can't meet without meeting in the past beforehand. Like in somebody where like they met in the womb. Wild.
Mommies are besties.
Like Jesus and John the Baptist. Like just truly just met in the womb. Both of our mothers are pregnant. What could possibly happen? And so they're milking the whole we have a future together in anticipation of her memory loss. And I do love this little thing that she accepted the ring and his withdrawal for divorce.
Yeah.
And he gives her a big hug.
I know, and everyone's so happy.
And everyone's happy, but that can't go on forever.
No.
That can't go on forever, but what's a little short scene that we got that I love? Because this actually, so listen. So, Grace.
Also, Grace was the reason why they lost the slush fund to Mosuri because she had to open her fucking big mouth. It's so annoying. Grace annoys me.
So Grace, because it's like somebody's got to find it, right?
She's still fucking
So Grace asked for her 5% of the cut.
This part's so good.
And it's 45 billion won. But she only asked for 40 billion in cash.
Yeah.
And she brought a car outside for the money.
She brought her car.
Multi's got this bedazzled bag. And so Multi gives her a checkbook, which I haven't seen a checkbook like this, I promise you, since like 2007.
So those
like
are Korean checkbooks?
Like a bank book.
Bank book.
Okay, then I have not seen a bank book since 1997. But I guess when you're putting like real money in an account, they're like, hey, you might need a couple pages.
Yeah.
Right? And so
in Korea, it's called 통장.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they always have. So if you like every drama will have this, but like if you want to show that you're like saving your money, it's like your bank book. So like you pull it out and it's like electronically printed, and you can see how much money you're saved.
So y'all are the ones that are still using those dot matrix printers, like
yeah,
so
they still have that. It's
so it's
crazy.
the airport.
Yeah.
Whenever I would hear those running at the airport, I'm like, what are we doing?
I can't do that.
And I'm like, so that means that somebody's still making that paper with the holes on the side.
Yeah.
She can only withdraw the money when Musul he approves it, and the payment is suspended because she doesn't fully trust Grace yet, because she knows Grace is going back and forth.
Yes, she's not an idiot. So you know what? Musul's smart.
This is my girl wet moment. Mm-hmm. Because Grace actually thought that Musul he was going to give her this money. That's my girl wet moment.
Right.
Because, girl.
The track record.
Why
would she give that amount of money?
Why would she give you anything? Mm-hmm. Because the first time y'all meet in this episode, she's wielding a knife and is upset with you. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, all right, well, here's your money. There was no way.
No.
Because you were negotiating for a cut of the slush fund, but then you're sitting up saying to them, well, if the Hong family finds it, they're going to give me this much. Mm-hmm. But if y'all find it, and it's just like, this was not the side that was going to actually give you the money.
Yeah, I know. Yes, you really
Hyun would have actually given you the money.
The evil twins were going to give you the money. Whereas Hyun, kind Hyun, I guess she doesn't think he's kind. Yeah.
Well, because he f***ed up her plan. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They shouldn't have never gotten married, according to Grace. Mm-hmm. But these are not the people that would have actually given you your money.
No.
But they've been bribing her the whole time, so I guess my girl wet moment was Grace actually thinking that she was going to give you this money.
I know.
Tae comes through and was like, oh, can I help? Because remember, when Haein tries to help, she can't do anything. Mm-hmm. And then Tae is over here, Wolverine, just and she's top chefed. Mm-hmm. And then Misun and Hyunwoo's mom were like,
oh, she's like good.
Oh, she's good.
So
and then
she
I was just
isn't
like,
a little princess that we all thought she was.
No,
she's
because
really
because they probably don't know that she grew up in an orphanage.
I don't think they know that. So they're just kind of like, oh, why is this like little other Chebo princess? Yeah.
So they think she's a little Chebo princess, and she's just like, nah, bro.
Nope.
I was cooking for other kids at the age of 12.
Yeah. And then the best part is when like
Haein's mom shows up and she's just like, get out of here. And she's like, no, mom, I'm not going to do that. And she's
this
like,
part's really sweet. Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, you're going to call me mother after this? And she's like, I've never got to call anybody mother. So that's what I'm going to call you. Yeah. You're the only mother I've ever had. And she's just like,
I know. She doesn't know what to say. So this is when Misun is like telling her the town gossip. She's like, oh, she's like gutsy. There's something about her. She has like moxie in her. She's very like, she's bold. She like spoke up to her mother-in-law. And I kind of like her.
And then she picks up the biggest bowl of cabbage I have ever seen in my entire life. And I'm just like, first of all, why are you putting all this cabbage in this bowl? Second, I don't even think Hyunwoo's mother could even pick that bowl up.
No.
And Tae chops up 17 radishes by herself and then picks up 50 kilos of cabbage.
And it's so sweet. They're making the kimchi for Haein's parents.
Yeah, because she was like, well, why are you making all of this? She's like, well, I'm making it for the parents, but then other people in the village. And it's just
so
like,
sweet. I love that.
It's a mountain of cabbage.
It's a lot of cabbage. It's a lot of cabbage. But yeah, and then like they have a really random scene where like Haein like gets her pinky.
Oh, the nails dyed. They're sitting up there because that's when one of the girls tells that's when they're using the balsam to tint the nails, which is so interesting to me. That's like, that means that because like when you see like henna on nails or like people dying, it's like, oh, that means for thousands of years, women looked down at their fingers and was like, I wonder if I could put colors on them.
I never knew. This was new for me. I thought that was really cool though. That you can like, that's what Korean people did. I didn't know that.
Dyeing your nails like that. But she shows her the balsam on the finger. And they were like, oh, if the tint stays before the first snow of the season, that means that your first love is gonna come true.
Oh yeah. And then this obsession with the first love, because the story of like Haein basically like Hyunwoo is Haein's first love.
And he's not picking up on it at all.
At all. She's just kind of, so it's a sweet little moment.
So Eunsung starts using the slush fund. And let me tell you something. I don't like how these scenes go, because he starts moving real desperate and real reckless. It's like these are desperate moves.
Yeah, because he's, again,
Right.
As episodes are going towards the end, he is slowly losing it.
Oh, this is a spiral. We are in a
He's
spiral.
He's losing it. He is.
But I think but there's still no new head of Queen's Group.
Nope.
He has control of the shares still, right?
So not yet. No, not anymore. Because the POA, they lost all those shares that they were controlling.
They lost all the shares when the chairman died?
The ones that the chairman had, yes.
But who do those shares revert to then?
To the home family.
So that's how they can come back into the house.
Yes.
Not
to the house. So that's the POA. So that's two separate things.
Okay.
But the shares are still the same. They don't have enough shares right now. So now,
how many shares does he have?
I forget the percentage. He doesn't have enough though.
Okay.
So what's happening though is that they're saying that the older brother, right, Pumsuk, I think. Pumsuk. He is making moves right now in New York. He's meeting with the limited partners, the LPs, so the people who are investing, but not as. You remember we talked about that last time. So he's rallying the troops right now. He's trying to gain support.
So the older
brother's trying to come back to be CEO.
Sorry, I just thought to myself, shouldn't he be dead? And that's Haein's brother. Sorry.
Yes. Too many characters.
Like this ghost is trying to take over his company. Haein's uncle.
Haein's uncle is like ready to. He's making a comeback.
What would she call him? How do you say uncle? But like to
the dad's side is her dad's dad, right? Our dad's brother. We're doing this again.
Yes.
큰 아빠.
We got Eunsung is making moves because he is legitimately desperate. So it's not me thinking he's desperate. They're legitimately desperate because they're trying to get control again, because now they don't have the power of attorney. They literally don't have control.
They have to start. They got to start gathering money. But what's crazy is
so why aren't they talking to the LPs like the older brother is?
I'm sure he is. I think everyone is right now. Everyone's trying to gather as much support.
But,
so it's like a Succession. You don't watch Succession. When Succession,
right people.
The hostile takeover, what happens is like everyone who wants a piece, they got their cronies. Everyone's like,
but how come Haein's
like,
dad's not doing anything?
I don't think Haein's dad wants it. We talked about this, right? Haein's dad is kind of like a suchar, right, in this situation.
Yeah.
And he's a man. He's a landed. He's a gentleman.
He's part of the landed gentry.
He's a gentleman. He goes, hunting and
originally
plays puzzles.
Gentlemen didn't work.
They don't work, yeah.
And he plays with a snail.
Yeah, plays with the snail.
And you would think that would be innuendo. It's not. He has a pet snail.
But behind the scenes, we discovered that Hyunwoo is keeping track of everything. Hyunwoo, Yangi, Conan, Pomja, it's like a whole crew. And his assistant's back. Did you notice the assistant's back helping him? Yeah. So the assistant was on Eunsung's side. His assistant was on Eunsung's side. Now he's back and he's feeding Hyunwoo information. He's like another Grace. Slippery Grace.
I can't let you back. Once you flip on me, I can't let you back.
Exactly. Why would you let him back? So
what do you mean?
They're basically also planting, I believe, stories that Pumsuk, the uncle, is trying to get the LPs under him, because this is causing Eunsung to get anxious, and he is spending, he's starting to buy shares.
Because Hyunwoo's like, we need him to spend this money, and because then we can catch him.
Yeah, and then their goal is they're going to plan to charge him for embezzlement, malpractice, and violating foreign exchange transaction laws.
Malpractice of what? He ain't no doctor. Malpractice of business?
Maybe of business.
What the fuck?
Because he orchestrated everything. Remember the double land deal, all of that?
Okay, but that's just fraud. America must not have this charge.
I don't think so.
It can't. Malpractice?
And also this was straight from the Netflix translation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Conan says he hasn't been able to track the broker down for the past couple of days. And then they discover he's been killed in the car.
And I wonder who killed him.
Now, this was my other girl what moment. Because it was Eunsung hasn't killed anybody that we know of.
No.
Because
Mulsadi's the murderer.
Right. And so now I wonder if, it would save him money, and that would be a loose end tied up. Because what does he usually do? Just tell people to leave the country. But I guess because he didn't have I think he killed him because he didn't kill Hyunwoo.
Yeah.
And they say dead man don't pay, but
also
you have to pay dead man.
He also couldn't trust the broker at this point, because the broker has been you know, he has been not tampered with, but, you know, he's gone to the other, he's been compromised because he's on the other side now.
But why haven't they killed Grace? Because Grace is too valuable? I'd have killed Grace. If I was Mosul, I'd have killed Grace.
Because she knows too much, too. At this point,
now that we have
the broker knew too much, the Mosul-hee knew too much.
Now that we have the slush fund, Grace is useless.
Kill Hyunwoo's assistant, kill everyone.
Yeah.
I guess they're not that crazy.
Well, no, that's ruthless.
Yeah. So they're getting ready to leave, the Hong family. Mm-hmm. So the parents are going to go back to Queenstown. Mm-hmm. But then Soo Choi is like, hey, guys, I'm staying here. I'm staying here with Tae and Konu. And we are not planning to move back to Queenstown. I want to carve out my own, a path for myself.
Did he have a conversation
mm-hmm.
with Hyunwoo's parents
mm-hmm.
before he announces to this family?
No, he's telling them they're having like a family meeting right now.
It's interesting that you've decided to stay at somebody's house and not talk to them about it.
Yes.
Because I was like, well, maybe he had a conversation with the mom.
No, but I think like he just really wants to say, yeah, this part was really funny, but I think like the key takeaway is he's growing up and he does not want to be so tied to his parents, which is great.
Right, because like he couldn't ride a bike.
Because he's a grown-ass man.
He's a grown-ass man.
This is good.
Who is going to be living off the money that his wife stole from his family.
Yes, exactly. So he's carving out his life. And then Haein and Hyunwoo tell them that they're also going to spend some alone time before she goes to Germany. So they're going to hang out at the office style.
What I love is that Soo Cho's like, we're going to stay here. And his parents are like, no, you come back with us. You can't do that. Well, we're going to stay at the office till. Absolutely. Have a great time. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's this very fun little comparison of what each child is going through.
And then Haein's mom's like, well, if you need anything from us, you just let us know. But she didn't say anything to Suchar, right? So then Suchar said this was funny. He was like, oh, is this what like being compared to feels like? It's never happened to me before.
Oh,
because his mom always, I know. I kind of giggled. That was funny.
I love that.
That was great. And then
remember Grace tells Mosul-hee that Haein's getting surgery.
Oh God, yes.
Because she goes out to Yongduri, pumps the moms for information while she's doing the facials because she tells Haein's mother, "Oh, your hands are so rough. Well, your face is so dry. Well, you're coming back. You have to look great because you're coming back. You don't want your rivals saying that you don't look good." And she's like, "Oh my God, my rivals. Yes. Let's do these facials." And then you cut to them laying on the floor. Right? But the mom has always been a chatterbox. Always telling Grace way too much information.
Yes.
And so now Grace knows. Now she has to go tell Mosul-hee so she can get her money. Because remember when she pulls up to Yongduri and she pulls up to the house, she's like, I got to get her to activate this account. I got to get my money. So I have to go pump them for information. And so Psycho Ajushi overhears. And now he takes his ass to the airport with what? Another HIPAA violation. They're all violating it. The mama, Grace, Mosul-hee, Eunsung, everybody's violating HIPAA. And he buys a ticket. He leaves, HIPAA violation. Now he's got to go to Germany. For what?
This man has completely lost his marbles.
For what?
And he's like, be sure to pump off information. I need to know everything that's happening. It's like, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So then...
You're not science. You're not a doctor. You can't give her a higher white blood cell count. You can't give her the surgery. You can't turn back time. Like, there's so many... It's like, sir, sit down.
Right. And then, so... He then, at one point, so this is before he goes to Germany, right? He sees Hyunwoo at Queenstown. Because there's a Queen, so we're kind of skipping ahead, but Queenstown, they're back at not Queenstown, at the Queen's department store. They're back at work. And Eunsung basically has the nerve to tell Hyunwoo, hey, I know she's going to Germany. I know she's getting the treatment, but I know that she may lose her memory. You probably didn't tell Haein because Haein probably won't get the surgery. But also HIPAA violations all over the place. And he's like...
Because Haein's mother, Hyunwoo's mother, and Soo-chol don't know that if she gets the surgery, because remember they haven't found it.
Yeah,
they haven't fallen out
no
yet.
one else knows. It's literally the dads, Hyunwoo,
And that's it.
and now Eunsung.
Eunsung.
Which again, wild that Eunsung found this out. Like, what is he? Like, how did he find
Grace
this out?
doesn't tell them.
Grace doesn't know this.
Grace doesn't know, so he doesn't know. So that means that Eunsung looked up this surgery, and then had the audacity, the nerve, the unmitigated gall to go in this man's face and say, "Listen, I know you didn't tell her because she wouldn't go get it, but you better make sure she go gets it."
Yes, and he's like, "Please take care of her." And then he goes back home, and then he tells his staff to remove all remnants of Haein and Hyunwoo's like things that they had together.
Oh, that's why he does that.
Yes, because he's getting ready. Because he's like, you know what? She's gonna lose her memory. So guess what? I'm swooping in. Yeah, he's crazy.
Because then they see the sonogram again.
He's fucking crazy. He is batshit fucking crazy. Just lost his mind. He's nuts. He's
I never need
so
for a man
annoying.
to look like this. I need
This character's just, again, this is why I feel like it's getting into Makjang area. I keep on saying this, but like this drama is becoming like just more and more like crazy and crazy and crazy. So they're just, everyone's losing it. He's lost it. He's fucking lost it.
Because I'm like, is he throwing this stuff away? Is he packing it up? Is he sending it to them? I'm like, well, when they be moving back in, is he sending it to the office still? God.
Yeah. So they go back. And then they're getting ready to live their like honeymoon life or whatever, or like newlywed life. So they get to their building, and then the neighbor Ajuma's like, "Oh, bachelor, you're back," and she's like,
He's not a bachelor.
We're married," and she's like, "Oh my god, you got married so soon!" Like blah 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 blah. So
it's basically like, you didn't tell us anything. I really wanted to go. I wanted her to say, "Oh, I wanted you to meet my niece or my daughter or somebody."
So they're basically lovey-dovey, and these scenes, very cute, but they're doing stuff before they go to Germany, and they're doing all the things like Hyunwoo used to do, just everyday mundane things that couples do, like
always hold. It's like we have to hold hands the whole time we do anything. We need to be right next to each other. You know, the feet on each other, holding hands while doing stuff. And I was just sitting there like a full-on hater.
And then for me, of course, I'm always like I'm very curious about this, whether they sleep together or not, because I'm a weirdo. I think they probably had sex.
I think they probably did.
You think they did the deed finally?
I think they had some sets of times.
Okay, good. I'm like, thank God. Because, oh my God.
Girl.
It's been like 12 episodes.
Girl.
So much tension. I'm like, I hope they finally did it.
They got divorced before they kissed.
So we go back to the Queen's workplace, Queen's department store.
Queen's department.
There's a couple things. I know that their money, I guess, is now they got money back.
Yeah.
But like
the accounts wouldn't be frozen anymore.
Okay, so their money's back fully.
Yeah.
Okay, so this makes sense. Okay, because I was like, why are they going on a shopping spree? So she takes her assistant out. Haein takes her assistant out on a shopping spree.
Also, she's very pretty.
Yeah, she was A Pink. Nayeon from A Pink.
I think she's prettier than Haein.
Oh.
But I don't think she could do the icy the way Haein does it. I think she's prettier, but she couldn't give us. You see what I'm saying?
I think Haein's prettier than her.
I think Haein's got the. You know how you've never seen Christine Baranski play somebody with no money?
Yes, we. You say that every time.
Right? Or how you always see like. So there's just certain actresses who just do. It's like how Denzel Washington's been leading man since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Right?
Pumi. Sorry, not Haeyoung. Pumi. That's her name. Pumi. Pumi from Yoon Pumi from A Pink.
Oh, she's okay. That's K-pop cute.
She's K-pop. She's very K-pop.
Yeah. Cause she's music pretty. Haein would be like acting pretty. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
They go on a shopping spree, and then she's like saying all these things, and I think what Haein is saying is like, you know, when I come back, I'm going to change things. Like she removed like public spaces in her department store because she didn't like people loitering around.
And
She just wanted
standing
people
around
to
not
shop,
buying
shop,
things.
shop.
Because when she came in, she's like, I'm just going to hang out. And she goes, well, didn't you say you don't like people coming in here not spending money?
Yeah.
And so she took out all the seats.
Yep.
She's like, I walked through here. She's like, I feel like I got robbed and I paid for it.
Yeah. And she was like, well, that was the goal. That's what you wanted. And that's what we've been doing. So she's saying all this stuff for the future, which is also, again, very bittersweet. And then Hyunwoo comes over and Hyunwoo, like, they have their Christmas. Oh, yeah. They have their Christmas decorations up because she's like, it's Christmas as soon as Halloween hits.
Well, because they don't have Thanksgiving.
Right. So
Because
she's like,
they wouldn't.
right. So she's like, we have Korean Thanksgiving. It was a different date. But it's like,
What?
yeah, Chuseok is our Thanksgiving.
What happened? Because our Thanksgiving is a story. Because, in Canada, they have a Thanksgiving, too. Because I think the same thing probably happened. But y'all are giving thanks to parents?
We call it is the Hangawi. It's a major mid-autumn harvest festival. It's a 3-day holiday in South Korea. But we call it Korean Thanksgiving Day. Chuseok.
And so you're thankful for a harvest. All right.
Yeah, a full harvest moon appears in the sky and families gather to enjoy time together and give thanks to their ancestors for the plentiful harvest. Basically, she's like, nope, I want people shopping right away after Halloween for Christmas. So all the decorations go up. Oh, yes.
November 26th.
You got to play the
jingle.
Starts. Yes, exactly. So Hyunwoo comes over and he asks the people who are planning for the decorations, or like, setting up the decorations, to put the fake snow up so he can surprise Haein. So again, another cutesy moment.
And she says her second secret and basically tells him that her first love is him. And then it's revealed that he arranged for this fake snow. So then the dye on the finger and the snowfall. But what's so funny is that it takes him so quick. It takes him so long to catch on to the fact that she was like, the bus. I followed the bus.
She's literally like, did you really go to Seoul National University?
She said,
like,
how did you get into school?
Yeah.
Which I thought was so funny.
Yeah, because he's so dense here.
In this one moment, but it's like when you're working, you're like you have everything. But when it comes to love, you're an idiot.
Dumb as rocks.
As a box of rocks. So bus 372... She was like, I crossed that river so many times in so much traffic to watch you sit in the back of this bus. And he was like, well, yeah, I did sit in the back of the bus. And she's like, how'd you get into school? I'm telling you I was in love with you, you ding dong. So they head to Germany.
Yeah, so they head to Germany. So on the way to Germany, so they're going to Germany, and all the rest of the family members start learning that the surgery may result in memory loss. So Choi finds out. He overhears. Yeah.
Hyunwoo's dad talking to Hyunwoo's mom.
Yeah. So
and he drops a tray because if you hear news, you're going to drop whatever's in your hand.
Super shocked.
And then Haein dad tells Haein's mom, and she's shocked. And Haein's mom cries because she's worried for Haein. They're back in business class. The fancy plane is back. The widest first class you've ever seen. This plane must be a 797. Must be an 800.
It's the fakest set I've ever seen.
Fakest fucking plane I've ever seen. And there's a new segment about the discovery. And while all this is going on, a news story pops up about a dead man who's been found in a car. And we find out it is the broker.
Yeah, ID'd as to be the broker. So he's been identified. So that is happening in the background.
And so they get to Germany and they're in the car. And Haein goes, okay, I'm going to tell you my third secret. And it's that the raccoon
that
didn't exist.
Made up.
And he'd be on that roof calling for that raccoon.
Yongsugi, I think. Yongsuga. Yeah. It's so funny.
And because remember the assistant was telling him, like, what's wrong? He's like, he's just on the roof.
Just
saying this
yelling
name.
this like woman's name out.
Yelling this woman's name out. And she's just like, ugh, it's fine.
It's so cute.
It's so cute. But yeah, it's just telling somebody. Because he was like, I've been doing this for years. Years. Looking for this goofy raccoon. And she's like, how could a raccoon live on a roof? But it's in a botanical garden. So there's things to eat in a garden. That raccoon could have made it. He made a valid point, right? And so they arrive at the hospital. And before she walks through those doors to start the treatment, which I'm sure the doctor would have told her about anyway. He tells her, listen, we're glad we're getting this treatment. We're excited. But it could cause you to lose your long-term memory. And he tells her that this is her only chance to live. And she lets go of the hand. And she walks away. And Haein asks him, is he asking her to make a decision of lesser of two evils? And she gets really upset. And she leaves. And Hyun chases after her and he tells her not to choose and not to think and just listen to him. She needs to live. And he begs her to get the surgery. And then that's the end of the episode.
Yeah. And yeah. So this episode, I feel, well, I would say this. The epilogue.
Well, the epilogue. So this is Hyun, they're at the office and he's recording a message to Haein in case she forgets her memory. And she's sleeping in the other room. Because the way they were cutting to it, I couldn't figure out if she was in the same room or not.
No, she's sleeping in a room, sleeping in their room, and
he's in the living room?
He's in the living room area, the tiny area, and he is recording himself just...
And so he's like, I'm your husband, and he's all tearful, and you might be scared because you don't remember me, but he tells her not to worry, and even if she's going to remember everything, he's going to tell her everything. He tells her no matter what's going to happen, they're going to be together, even if she doesn't like him. And they made a promise to each other to always stay by each other's side. And he wants to collect new good memories with her because she lost all her old memories in the surgery. And faith brought them together, and he loves her. And this was really hard to watch, given what's going on right now, because we said this earlier when we were on our live, the speech that he gave in this epilogue, when I watched this again, was really giving the speech that he gave, what was that, last week?
The press conference?
The press conference.
Kim Soo Hyun, yeah. So
it was really giving press conference. It really, truly
This is was. Why, so just a second ago when we talked about the last ending where he's begging her to live, I just, again, I was thinking about Kim Soo Hyun and it just, she died on his birthday.
She didn't die on his birthday.
She committed suicide on his birthday.
She took her own life on his birthday.
She took her own life on, and again, watching that last scene, watching the epilogue was really hard for me to watch. I was like, you know what? I think I'm good. I get the gist. And I typed it up and I was just like, yeah, because.
But even the first time I watched it, it was hard to watch because it was just so sad.
It was, to me, it's, again, it's very makjang, it's too over the top.
It was too over the top.
It's
That's why I didn't
milking
like the first time.
At this point.
Yeah.
It's very, very just we're gonna milk it. It's episode 12, 13. We're getting there.
Oh, this is a dairy cow.
It is just This
could have been one. It was too long.
It was and he's just sitting there.
And he's just sitting there bawling, and I'm like, oh yeah, he hasn't cried the past 2 episodes. We have to make up for it.
Yeah, and
he still has to be the
literally
queen.
The title.
He's really the Queen of Tears. And so it was yes, in light of the things that's going on with him, it was hard to watch, but also it was hard to watch the first time because it was this is too much, this is too long. The shot was too bright. There's all this hopeful light around him, and also he's making direct eye contact with the audience because he's talking directly into the camera.
Yeah.
And I'm all of this was too much.
Yeah.
All of it was too much.
And I think the next couple episodes, right? 14, 15, 16, I really feel like they could have ended it. They could have wrapped it up. They could have tightened it up a little more. Mm-hmm. Episode 13, they could have probably ended this with episode 14. Yeah. Because again, I think the next couple episodes, we're in for a wild ride. Because there's some crazy shenanigans that happens in Germany, if you remember.
Girl.
I was just, at one point, I was like, what is happening?
Girl, what's blowing up?
What is happening? But
because remember, when they're on their way to Germany, Eunsung's on his way to Germany. He doesn't need to be.
No.
What's he gonna be doing?
Exactly. Well,
in the waiting room,
he is waiting. He's gonna pray that she loses her memory,
so then he can pop up and be the husband.
In.
Son of
It's too much. Yeah, the next couple of episodes are wild. But we finally made it.
Yes.
So next week, we're going to have episode 14 of Queen of Tears. Again, we have 3 more recaps to go.
Oh.
3 more episodes to go until we're done, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, so we'd love to hear from you guys.
Absolutely.
We love hearing from you guys. So we are on all the social channels.
We are.
We are on Instagram, TikTok. Please
MySpace.
MySpace.
College Club. Mi Gente, Asian Avenue.
All of it. Cyworld. Korea's, the old one was Cyworld for Korea. What? Throwback, yes. We're on Cyworld.
We made our own Animal Crossing.
We have all these worlds that you can join. But
yes, we're Sims. We're also on Sorority Life on MySpace.
So please subscribe, engage, comment, do all the things for us. And yeah, we are available on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Please engage there. It's a little complicated on Apple and Spotify to like and review things, but I'm going to actually do a video to show people how to do it because we'd love for you guys, again, to leave us a good review. It's hard getting there, the navigation. Thomas and I are doing it. I was like, oh, this is it. He's like, where do I go to put in a review? Because you could actually type in a review. Huh. Yeah, so we'd love for you guys to put a review for us on Apple because all this stuff kind of matters. It really does. It really does. And yeah, and we have a lovely website, chasingkdramas.com, so you should check that out as well. And yeah, and then we always want to hear from you guys via email. So if you go to the website, you'll see our email.
Because when you do the emails, then we can do a mailbag episode. I know. We can answer all of your questions.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it. We'll see you guys next week.
사랑해.
Chasing K-Dramas is hosted and executive produced by Dulcé, Sloan, and me, Chrissy Choi. I edit the audio and video, and our production is led by Thomas Hyun from TY Media and Go Get 'Em Productions. Our artwork is designed by Ice Cream. We're an indie podcast, and we're always looking for fun partnerships. If you're a brand that's interested in sponsoring your chases, or for your fan who just wants to stay in touch, please check out our website at chasingkdramas.com.